The Galactic Council chamber floated above a dying blue star. It was older than most civilizations still alive. The chamber was enormous. Endless curved walls of dark crystal reflected light from thousands of floating hollow screens. Each screen showed the symbol of a different species. Some were ancient empires. Some were machine minds. Some were hive rulers who spoke with one voice. Together, they controlled the galaxy. They decided who could trade, who could expand, who could live. At the lowest ring of the chamber, a single name glowed on the central display: humanity. The mood was calm, confident, almost bored. To the council, humans were not a mystery. They were a calculation. A tall insectoid delegate spoke first. Its voice echoed softly. Humans are young. Their species barely survived its own planet. A machine intelligence followed. They are divided by nations, beliefs, and internal conflict. Inefficient. Another voice, smooth and cold. Emotion controls their decisions. Fear, pride, anger. The council agreed. Humans were labeled as young, emotional, divided. Weak. Useful. Perhaps. Dangerous. No. A senior council overseer raised a clawed hand, and the chamber fell silent. The problem, the overseer said, is not what humans are now. It is what they may become. The word problem echoed longer than it should have. A projection appeared. Human space. Small, bright clusters surrounded by older empires. They expand without permission, the overseer continued. They build fleets without oversight. They research weapons without approval. No human representative was present to speak. They had not been invited. The decision was already made. The council voted. The result appeared instantly. Final. Directive approved. The terms were simple. Human fleets would be limited. Human borders would be frozen. Human weapons would be inspected by council authority. A formal command was prepared. Official. Legal. Absolute. It was sent to Earth. The council waited. They expected protests. They expected protests. They expected freer. They expected long speeches and emotional arguments. Humans were known for that. Seconds passed. Then minutes. No reply arrived. A few delegates chuckled. Delay tactics, one said. They are arguing among themselves, said another. Fear causes silence, a third added. The overseer watched the timer continue. Still nothing. Hours passed. Human embassies across the galaxy began to close. Quietly, no announcements, no emergency calls, no angry messages, just lights going dark. Human communication channels slowly powered down, one by one, cleanly, professionally. Trade signals vanished. Civilian broadcast stopped. Military frequencies went silent. No fleets moved. No warnings were issued. No threats were made. The council began to feel uncomfortable. A junior observer stood at the edge of the chamber, young by his species standards, assigned to monitor background data. He was not important enough to speak unless asked, but his sensors were telling him something strange. He looked again at the human shipyard reports. They were empty, not destroyed, not damaged, empty. Construction bays were powered down, assembly lines frozen mid-cycle. No workers, no ships being built. He checked trade routes, closed, perfectly closed, not blocked, not attacked, deactivated. He checked military movement. There was none. No patrols, no defensive formations, no emergency redeployment, just absence. The junior observer swallowed and raised a cautious hand. Esteemed overseers, he said carefully, his voice small in the massive chamber. The overseer turned, slightly annoyed. What is it? The observer activated a shared display. Human shipyards are empty, he said. Trade routes are closed. Military traffic has vanished completely. The chamber stirred. A few delegates leaned forward. That proves surrender, one said. They are hiding, said another. Fear, a third repeated. But the observer hesitated. There is more, he said. He changed the display. Human civilian worlds appeared. Evacuated. Cleanly evacuated. No panic signatures. No damaged cities. No emergency shelters. Just empty planets. The observer's voice grew quieter. They did not run, he said. They prepared. Silence spread across the chamber. The overseer narrowed his eyes. Prepared for what? He asked. The observer hesitated again, then answered honestly. For war. Laughter broke out. Sharp, confident, dismissive. Humans cannot fight the council, one delegate said. They do not even have allies, another added. They are bluffing, a third concluded. The overseer raised a hand, and the laughter faded. "Continue monitoring," he said. "They will respond eventually." But even as he spoke, his attention returned to the display. Human space was quiet, too quiet. No fear signals, no emotional broadcasts, no last messages of desperation, just silence, the kind of silence that comes before something moves. The junior observer stared at the darkened map, one thought repeated in his mind, growing colder with every second. If humans were afraid, why did it look like they had already finished preparing? The Galactic Council did not panic, not yet. They had ruled the galaxy for too long to fear silence. Silence to them meant submission. The overseer stood from his elevated seat and looked around the chamber. Hundreds of alien leaders watched him. Some were ancient beings who had crushed stars into weapons. Some ruled fleets older than human history. Humans are not special, the overseer said calmly. They are inexperienced, emotional, predictable. Many delegates nodded. Their silence is fear, the overseer continued. They have removed their people to avoid punishment, nothing more. A new order was issued. En Foreman Phase Haze 1 Council fleets would move into human border space, not to attack, not to destroy, to remind humanity who ruled the galaxy. Thousands of warships responded. They were beautiful in a terrifying way. Long silver hulls, weapons that bent light, shields powered by stars. They moved in perfect formation toward human space. The Council watched with confidence. As the fleets crossed the border, sensors activated. Human defenses did not respond. No warning shots, no protest messages, no last attempts at negotiation. The first human system appeared on the main screen. Empty. Planets orbited peacefully. Cities still stood. Lights were off. Atmospheres stable. No damage. "This confirms retreat," one delegate said. They ran, another agreed. The fleet advanced deeper. System after system appeared the same. Empty worlds, powered-down stations, silent moons. The junior observer watched closely. Something felt wrong. Human evacuations were too perfect. No broken ships, no abandoned equipment, no signs of panic. Even emergency shelters were cleanly shut down. They planned this long ago, he whispered to himself. The Council fleets reached a major human industrial system. Sensors detected massive structures, shipyards, weapon platforms, factories. The fleets prepared to seize them. Then reports arrived. "All facilities inactive," a commander said. "No resistance detected. No humans present." The overseer frowned. "Secure them," he ordered. Boarding teams entered the shipyards. Minutes passed. Then the first strange report came. "These systems were shut down weeks ago," a commander said. "Power cores cold. Data wiped. Nothing usable." Another voice joined in. "These were not abandoned in panic. They were dismantled carefully." The overseer felt irritation rise. "Continue," he said. "Human space is large. They cannot hide forever." The fleets pushed forward. That was when the first patrol vanished. No explosion, no distress call, no distress call, no debris. Just gone. A commander spoke quickly. "Sensor malfunction," he said. "We are recalibrating." Another patrol vanished, then another. Still no wreckage, still no signal. The chamber grew quieter. "Show us the data," the overseer demanded. The display shifted. Empty space. Nothing else. "No enemy detected," the system reported. The junior observer leaned forward. "That is impossible," he said softly. The overseer ignored him. "Deploy deep-range probes," the overseer ordered. "Humans are hiding behind technology." Probes were launched. Advanced, expensive, almost impossible to detect. They moved ahead of the fleets. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, one probe sent data. The image flickered. Space looked wrong. Stars bent slightly, distances distorted. Sensor readings contradicted themselves. Then the probe sent one final message before cutting out. "Unit Anur, a store secures detect originin, human power sign Turo, sign Tature, unrateable." The signal ended. The chamber went silent. A senior warlord spoke slowly. "Humans do not have technology like that." The overseer's voice hardened. "Then they stole it," he said. "Or they are bluffing." The fleets continued. That was the moment everything changed. Human ships appeared. Not from hyperspace, not from known jump points. They simply were there. Massive, dark, silent. Their design did not match any known human ship class. No visible weapons charging, no communication signals, no formation. They floated like shadows between stars. Council commanders froze. "Identify yourselves," one commander demanded. No reply. "Prepare weapons," another ordered. Before weapons could charge, several council ships shut down. Not destroyed, disabled, power gone, weapons offline, engines dead. Entire fleets drifted helplessly. Human ships still did not fire. They did not chase. They only observed. The overseer stood slowly. "This is not an attack," he said, trying to remain calm. "This is intimidation." But his voice betrayed him. The junior observer spoke again, louder this time. "Overseer," he said, "human fleets are not reacting to us." "What do you mean?" The overseer snapped. "They are not responding to our movements," the observer said. "They are positioned everywhere." The display changed. Everywhere. The display changed. Human ships surrounded council space. Not concentrated. Distributed. Strategic. Every major route. Every reinforcement path. Every retreat vector. Blocked. "They predicted this," the observer said quietly. The overseer stared at the map. For the first time in centuries, he felt uncertainty. "This was supposed to be a warning," he whispered. The junior observer looked at the silent human fleets. "They are not here to warn us," he said. The chamber fell into uneasy silence. Outside, the stars remained calm, too calm, and far away, humanity waited. The Galactic Council had seen many wars. They had seen stars burn. They had erased entire species. They had never lost control, but now control was slipping. The chamber was no longer calm. Voices overlapped. Delegates argued. Commanders demanded answers from their fleets. On the main display, human ships remained motionless. They did not advance. They did not retreat. They simply existed. Every council fleet trapped in human border space reported the same thing. Engines offline, weapons unresponsive, communications jammed by something that did not behave like jamming. It was as if space itself refused to listen. A senior fleet commander spoke, his voice tight. "We are not under attack," he said, "but we are not allowed to move." The overseer clenched his claws. "That is impossible," he said. "No species controls space itself." The commander hesitated. "Humans do," he replied. The chamber went silent again. The junior observer stared at the sensor data scrolling across his console. Every calculation told the same story. Human ships were not using traditional shields. They were not using known weapons. They were not even using normal power sources. Instead, space around them bent slightly. Signals curved. Distance felt wrong. "They are anchoring reality," the observer whispered. No one laughed this time. Across the galaxy, things began to happen. A council patrol vanished near a distant trade hub, then another near an outer defense line. Then a full battle group disappeared without sound. No explosions, no debris, no warning, just absence. Reports flooded in. Entire regions are going dark. No enemy detected. Ships gone without trace. The council ordered emergency scans. The results were worse. Every vanished fleet had one thing in common. They were near human ships. The overseer stood slowly. "This is escalation," he said. "Humans are attacking council forces." The junior observer shook his head. "No, overseer," he said quietly. "They are not attacking." "What?" The overseer snapped. "They are removing us?" The observer replied. The difference chilled the chamber. A transmission request appeared. "Origin, Werge." The council froze. After all the silence, humanity was finally speaking. "Open it," the overseer ordered. The message played. A human figure appeared, calm, still. No uniform markings, no emotion on his face. He did not bow. He did not threaten. He spoke slowly, clearly, in simple words. "You were told to stop." The chamber erupted in angry voices. "You will stand down. This is an act of war. You have no authority." The human raised one hand. The sound cut off instantly. The council members stared in shock. The human continued. "You limited our fleets. You froze our borders. You came to inspect our weapons." His eyes did not change. "So we removed the need." The overseer leaned forward. "You dare speak to us this way?" he demanded. "You are a single species." The human looked directly into the projection. "You made us one," he said. The message ended. Silence followed. Then panic. What did he mean? What did they remove? Where are our fleets? The observer's console flashed red. Overseer, he said urgently. Human ships are repositioning. The display changed. Human fleets were moving, not toward the council chamber, toward key systems, shipyards, command centers, supply worlds. Every location that allowed the council to project power. They are cutting our reach, the observer said. They are isolating us. Orders were sent to rally forces. None arrived. Orders were sent to allies. No response. Human fleets appeared at every rally point before council ships could arrive. Not attacking, just blocking. Council commanders reported the same message from human vessels. Stand down. You are contained. The overseer's voice grew tight. Deploy the reserve fleets grew tight. A machine intelligence replied. There are no reserves left that are not already blocked. The truth spread through the chamber like cold poison. Humanity had studied them, their routes, their response times, their habits. Every move the council tried to make, humans were already there. They planned this for years, a warlord muttered. No, the observer corrected softly. They planned this for generations. Another message arrived from Earth. This one was broadcast across the galaxy, not just to the council, to everyone. Humans spoke again. We did not seek war, the voice said. We accepted limits. We accepted oversight. The image shifted. Human colonies burning from past council actions. Human ships destroyed in earlier peacekeeping operations. Human worlds stripped of resources. You taught us something, the human voice continued. That mercy without strength is meaningless. Council members watched in horror. We are not here to rule you, the voice said. We are here to end your control. The broadcast ended. Across the galaxy, smaller species watched silently. Some felt fear. Others felt hope. Back in the chamber, the overseer sat down slowly. This cannot be happening, he whispered. The junior observer stared at the map. Human fleets now surrounded the council's core systems. Every escape route sealed. Every weapon useless. For the first time in its long existence, the Galactic Council was not deciding the future. It was waiting for it, and humanity had not finished yet. The galaxy expected rage. That was what humanity was known for. Anger, pride, loud defiance. But what came instead was worse, calm. Across council space, human fleets moved with perfect timing. Not fast, not slow, precise. Every action measured. Every position chosen long before the first order was given. Council commanders tried to understand what kind of attack this was. There were no bombardments, no planets burned, no cities fell, yet power was disappearing everywhere. Human ships approached council command vessels and did something strange. They did not fire. They reached out. Invisible forces wrapped around engines, weapons, and shields. Systems shut down as if they had never existed. Ships drifted, alive but helpless. Crew members reported the same thing. No damage, no breach, no way to restart. Entire fleets were reduced to silent metal shells. The council screamed for retaliation. It never came. Every counterattack failed before it began. Missiles vanished mid-flight. Energy beams bent away. Hyperdrives refused to activate. Space itself seemed to obey human ships. A senior council warlord slammed his claws against the chamber floor. Destroy them, he roared. Use everything. A machine intelligence replied coldly. All offensive options exhausted. Outcome unchanged. The overseer stood frozen. Humanity was not fighting like an empire. They were executing a process. Across the galaxy, council leaders were captured, not killed. Captured. Human teams appeared aboard disabled command ships. No shouting, no cruelty, just orders spoken in calm voices. Stand down. You are contained. Resistance is unnecessary. Council soldiers tried to fight. They failed. Human technology did not overpower them. It ignored them. Weapons would not lock. Armor did not respond. Even basic movement felt slow, heavy, wrong. One captured commander whispered in terror. This feels like being judged. Back in the council chamber, emergency alerts flooded every surface. High command seized. Defense nexus offline. Supply worlds locked. The overseer's breathing grew shallow. This is not war, he said quietly. The junior observer nodded. No, he replied. It is enforcement. A final transmission arrived from Earth. Not a demand. Not a threat. A statement. The human representative appeared again. Same calm face. Same steady eyes. "We warned you," he said. "You chose control over coexistence." The overseer stood. "You cannot dismantle the council," he said. "The galaxy will collapse." The human tilted his head slightly. "We studied your history," he replied. "The galaxy suffered because of you, not despite you. The display changed. Records appeared. Species erased for refusing trade terms. Worlds sanctioned into famine. Empires broken for growing too strong. You called it balance," the human said. "We call it domination." The overseer tried to speak. The human raised his hand. Again, the chamber fell silent. "You limited our fleets," the human continued. "So we learned to fight without fleets. You inspected our weapons. So we stopped building weapons you could see." His eyes hardened slightly. "You came to remind us of our place." The image zoomed out. Human fleets surrounding council space. Every route sealed. Every command node silent. "So we removed yours." The overseer's voice cracked. "What do you want?" The human answered immediately. "Nothing from you." The words hit harder than any threat. "We do not want your territory," the human said. "We do not want your resources. We do not want your obedience." The chamber trembled slightly as another alert arrived. "Conklin Sol Authority Network. Dismantle D. You will remain," the human said. "You will observe. You will remember." A council delegate screamed, "This is mercy." The human looked directly into the projection. "No," he said calmly. "Mercy ended when you decided we were a problem." The transmission ended. Across the galaxy, something fundamental changed. Smaller species began to realize what was happening. The council was not being replaced. It was being stripped. Its fleets disabled. Its borders meaningless. Its orders ignored. And humanity did not celebrate. They did not announce victory. They simply continued. One system at a time. One command node at a time. No mercy. No cruelty. Just certainty. The junior observer stared at the silent chamber. "They are not punishing us," he whispered. "They are removing the idea that we can do this again." The overseer sank back into his seat. For the first time in his long life, he understood. Humanity had not responded with anger. They had responded with finality, and there would be no appeal. The Galactic Council chamber was still intact. That was the cruelest part. The walls still glowed. The ancient symbols still floated in the air. The seats of power were untouched. Yet the council no longer ruled anything. The overseer sat in silence, staring at the main display. Once, this screen had shown fleets moving at his command, borders shifting, worlds changing hands with a vote. Now it showed something else. Human activity, not attacks, not destruction, administration. Human fleets controlled major jump lanes, not with blockades, but with presence. Their ships hovered near critical routes, quiet and unmoving, like watchers. Council ships that tried to pass were gently stopped, engines powered down without damage, crews left unharmed but unable to continue. "You may turn back," the human messages said. "This path is closed. No threats, no force, just facts." Across the chamber, delegates argued. "This is temporary," one said. "They cannot hold the galaxy forever," another insisted. "They will fail without centralized control." But the reports told a different story. Smaller species were adapting quickly. Trade routes reopened without council permission. Local alliances formed without council approval. Old sanctions were ignored. The galaxy did not collapse. It breathed. A junior delegate whispered, "They were waiting for this." The overseer heard him. Waiting. Humanity had not rushed into power. They had not replaced the council with themselves. They had simply removed the council's grip. And the galaxy was choosing what came next. A new transmission arrived in the chamber. Origin, neutral systems, conference. The overseer's eyes widened. "They are organizing without us," he said. "They are organizing without us," he said. The junior observer nodded. "They no longer need us." The transmission played automatically. Representatives of dozens of smaller species appeared. Some were fearful, some hopeful. All were cautious. A human stood among them. Not above them, not in front, beside them. "We are not your rulers," the human said. "We are your shield." A reptilian delegate asked, "What stops you from becoming the next council?" The human answered without pause. "Nothing," he said, "except our memory." The transmission ended. The chamber remained silent. A council elder spoke at last. We were the balance, he said weakly. Without us, chaos will come. The junior observer turned toward him. Chaos already existed, he said. You called it order because you controlled it. The elder had no reply. Outside the chamber, council core systems were being reclassified. Human markers replaced council authority tags, not claiming ownership. Marking limits. No military assembly, no species control, no council override. Each marker came with the same message. This is enforced. The overseer watched another alert appear. Council fleet storage, sealed. We cannot even disband them, he whispered. The observer looked at him. They already disband them, he whispered. The observer looked at him. They already did. Council fleets were not destroyed. They were locked in place. Crews allowed to leave. Ships preserved but unusable. A reminder. A warning. The council tried to speak to humanity again. No response. They tried to issue decrees. Ignored. They tried to threaten sanctions. No one listened. For the first time in its history, the Galactic Council could only observe events it did not control. They watched smaller species defend themselves with human help. They watched old enemies sign peace without council pressure. They watched trade flourish where once it had been restricted. The overseer felt something unfamiliar. Shame. We believed we were necessary, he said softly. The junior observer looked at the galaxy map. You were convenient, he replied. Not necessary. Another message arrived. This one was directed only to the council. A human appeared again. Same calm presence. Same steady tone. You will remain here, the human said. You will remain here, the human said. You will observe. You will record. The overseer leaned forward. And if we refuse? The human's eyes hardened slightly. You already did, he said. This is the result. The overseer asked the question he had avoided. Why keep us alive? The human answered slowly. So you remember, he said. So you warn those who come after. So the galaxy never forgets what unchecked control becomes. The message ended. Time passed. Days, weeks, months. The council chamber became a place of watching, not ruling. Watching the galaxy grow without them. The junior observer remained at his station. He watched as species once crushed by council votes now spoke freely. He watched humans intervene only once when an old empire tried to rebuild its fleets in secret. The response was instant. Ships disabled, leaders detained, no bloodshed, no mercy, just enforcement. The overseer sat quietly. They are not cruel, he said. They are careful. The observer nodded. They learned from us. The words hurt more than any defeat. As the chamber lights dimmed to cycle mode, the overseer stared at the stars beyond the viewport. For centuries, the council had believed itself eternal. Now, it was a witness. And that was the punishment humanity had chosen. Years passed. The galaxy did not end. That surprised many. After the fall of the Galactic Council's power, countless beings had predicted chaos, wars, collapse, endless fighting between old enemies. None of that happened. Something else replaced it. Balance. Not the kind enforced by fear and authority, but one built from memory. Human fleets still existed, but they were rarely seen. They did not patrol worlds or demand loyalty. They appeared only when lines were crossed. And everyone knew where those lines were. Across former council space, new systems formed. Independent alliances replaced old forced unions. Trade routes reopened without heavy taxes or restrictions. Smaller species spoke openly, no longer afraid of sanctions or extinction votes. Humans did not rule. They watched. On Earth, no celebrations were held. No victory monuments were built. Humanity treated the event as a duty completed, not a conquest won. Their fleets returned to distant positions, spread thin but perfectly placed, always watching. In the old Galactic Council chamber, life continued quietly. The chamber had changed. Where once there was noise and command, now there was reflection. The seats were still filled, but no one spoke with authority. No votes decided fate anymore. The overseer was older now, his movements slower, his voice softer. He stood by the great viewport, looking at the galaxy beyond. The stars are calmer, he said quietly. The junior observer, no longer junior, stood beside him. Yes, he replied, they are. The overseer sighed. We believe control kept the galaxy safe, he said. We were wrong. The observer did not argue. They had watched the same events. They had seen an old empire attempt to secretly rebuild a massive fleet, hoping humanity had grown distant. Human ships arrived within hours. No warning, no speeches. The fleet was disabled, the leaders detained, the ships sealed. The message sent afterward was short. This line was already drawn. No mercy, no cruelty, just finality. The overseer turned from the viewport. Humanity does not forgive easily, he said. The observer shook his head. They forgive, he replied. They just never forget. A signal arrived in the chamber. Origin, Galactic Records, Ricker. The overseer raised an eyebrow. They want history? He asked. They want truth, the observer said. The request came from a coalition of younger species. They were building a shared archive, open to all. They wanted the council's records, all of them, unedited. The overseer paused for a long time. Then he nodded. Give it to them, he said. Everything. The observer hesitated. Even the classified extinction votes, especially those, the overseer replied. The data transfer began. Across the galaxy, beings learned what the council had truly done. The choices made in secret. The lives erased for convenience. The wars justified as balance. Many were angry. Some were afraid. But none could say they did not understand anymore. Humanity never commented. They did not defend their actions. They did not explain themselves. They let the galaxy decide what kind of future it wanted. On a distant world once marked for extinction, children played under open skies. Their species had survived only because humanity had intervened at the last moment. One child looked up at a faint light moving across the stars. Is that a human ship? She asked. An elder nodded. Yes. Are they watching us? The child asked nervously. The elder smiled. Yes, he said, but that is why we are safe. Back in the council chamber, the overseer sat alone. Most delegates had left. Some returned to their home worlds. Others stayed, turning the chamber into a place of study rather than power. He looked at the empty seats. We thought mercy was weakness, he said to no one. We were wrong about that too. The observer entered quietly. There is one last message, he said. From Earth? Yes. The overseer nodded. Play it. The human representative appeared for the final time. He looked older now, tired, but calm. This will be our last direct communication, the human said. The overseer leaned forward. What happens now? He asked. The human answered simply. You live, he said. You observe. You warn. And if someone tries to become what we were, the overseer asked. The human's eyes hardened just slightly. Then we will return, he said. The message ended. No threats, no promises, just certainty. The overseer leaned back and closed his eyes. For the first time, he felt something close to peace. Humanity did not conquer the galaxy. They did not rule it. They did something far more dangerous. They set limits, and the galaxy understood. Far beyond council space, human fleets drifted quietly between stars, watching, waiting, not with mercy, but with memory, and that was enough.